Hi everybody, Matt back with you. Hope you're okay. Today I'm following the river from Luddenden Foot. I'm heading to a place called Luddenden Dean. There's a couple of spots there that I'm hoping to find and show you, but also see what else is there. It's not an area I know very well. I've passed it more often than I've been to it, by about 95%. And the only time I've ever really been to it was when we drive around it and look at the Christmas lights. That's about it. So hopefully I can find what I'm going to show you and find some nice things, but including the little bridge behind me there. So I've reached the centre of, we call this a village or a hamlet. I followed the river. The road is all dug up at the moment, but we're heading this way. It's certainly a very quaint, sleepy little place. There's cars, but there's no sign of anybody. So I'm going to head to the church. The first thing I'm looking for is there. So we're in the St Mary's churchyard. It says here it was consecrated for burials in 1624, closed in 1859. Gravestones were lifted in 1974. It's a bit difficult to read the rest of it, but you can tell by the way the gravestones are kind of laid out like a path that that's not how they would have been originally. But there are some huge tombs here. Look at all the writing on there. It's a bit like, reminds me of the start of Star Wars, if you'll excuse me saying that. Right. This is a very well kept graveyard. Full marks to them. Beautiful. From here you can see the mill up at Booth. That's now houses. I do remember that being on fire a few decades ago, and quite dramatic because my grandparents lived very near it. So a lot of these gravestones are fairly recent. Look at this one. This reminds me of the gravestones up at Whitby Abbey. Eroded away. What a shame. Some older and bigger stones up here from the 1800s. It's a much bigger graveyard than I expected it to be, so it's no surprise that there's this little chapel here, which I think is abandoned. Yeah. So like Bono, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. That little building intrigues me, obviously. When you have big graveyards, you sometimes find these little chapels here. They would kind of keep the body and bring the body out from here, which would make sense. I can't get in it. Did I try though? Can you see anything through the gap? So what I was looking for is a stone that's known as the Boggarts chair. Essentially it's just a rock that's been worn down, and they say it's been worn down by a boggart sitting on it. I haven't been able to find it. This is a much bigger place than I expected. So the door is open for the church. I'm just going to go in and ask. Feels like a very old place. Look at those. Over here. Let's have a sneaky peek. Okay, so this is inside St Mary's Church. This feels like a very old church, doesn't it? The stained glass at this side. Well, look at that stained glass window there. Nobody to ask. Well, I suppose there is one person, but I don't think he'll give me the answer. Font there. Yeah. I don't know whether I should be in here, so let's crack on. So the Boggarts chair must remain elusive for now. We have a nice memorial garden. A pub, Lord Nelson, but we're heading up here now for the next destination. Okay, so this is the old Luddenden Dean School. What we've come to look for are these here, which are quite interesting because these are old lockups. So you won't quite be able to tell, but that sign there says the school was built in 1825. But lockups were used in the 19th century, and when usually if somebody was causing a nuisance or was drunk, they'd be thrown into a lockup overnight, either until they sobered off or until a magistrate could come and see them. But these are interesting because A, they're under a school. The school would have been used at the same time, but as you can see the names above them: Worley, Midgley, which is just up the hill as well, and one that's been covered up here doesn't have a name on it, but I guess this would have been the one for Luddenden. So yeah, so if you were causing a nuisance in the 19th century, you'd be thrown in here. And I guess they were shared. It was a shared place. So if you were causing trouble in Midgley, you'd be lobbed in there. It's good to see them. Okay, so that concludes my look at Luddenden Dean. Shame I didn't find the old Boggart stone, but it is a beautiful spot. Seemingly in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. There's a pub to go in. What more could you ask for? I didn't realise that the pub was quite as old as it was. Lord Nelson, 1634, maybe. Right. Till next time, see you soon.